And the Lord commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear the Lord our God for our good always, that he might preserve us alive, as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God.
Now stop. It says what again?
And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God.
So we didn't observe to do all these commandments of the Most High God. But Christ, or the Most High, said, I'm going to make you righteous and send my son to put you back right with me. So we can't use this law to be righteous anymore. Let me get that real quick. Romans 10, real quick. 4.
Romans 10 and 4. For Christ is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone that believeth.
So this is what it is. Because we haven't kept the law, we would have been destroyed and finished if we was basing our righteousness on this, because there wasn't nobody keeping the law. But now Christ came and died and made it right. So now he is our righteousness. What we did, because we would be considered evil because we didn't do it. So now we consider righteousness again. So the Most High sent Christ to end that, making us righteous. Now Yahushua makes us righteous. We like Moses or Abraham was. His faith is what made him righteous. Because he wasn't dealing with all the complete law. How do we know that? Because he wasn't circumcised until he was older. The law said you got to be circumcised on the 8th day.
8 years old.
So the Most High did what? He said he counted his faith as righteousness. Same thing right here. What I said again, Romans 10 and 4. Let me get there with you. Romans right there. 10 and 4. He said righteousness. He says Moses, or Shalachia. Read that again.
Romans 10 and 4. For Christ is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone that believeth.
So he's the end of the law for righteousness. They use that to say he's the end of the law, period. And that's not what that said. You got to read the whole thing, man. Circumcision, because we just got through reading the law that was our righteousness. We don't do that, we finished. Right? He said, this is going to be your righteousness. Keep these laws, this is your righteousness. But when we read Romans 10 and 4, he said Christ is the end of the law for righteousness, which means we don't have to die now. We got a second chance to be redeemed. Because the Most High is holy. A wicked sinner cannot be with the holy God. That's why he said, keep these that you be holy because I am holy. So we got to be holy. And our righteousness is as filthy rags. There's nothing we can do to appease the Most High. To be able to say I can shake it off is a tremendous blessing because we're supposed to be dead.
You're learning.
We're supposed to be dead. But let the brother read that. Read verse 5 real quick. 4 and 5.
Galatians 4 and 5.
Come on.
To redeem them that
to redeem us. That was the point of him ending the law of righteousness. To redeem us because we done. There is no we finished. In the law of Moses, you died under 2 or 3 witnesses. But we redeemed. Come on.
that were under the law.
That was under that law of righteousness. Come on.
That we might receive the adoption of sons.
That we can be adopted back. Come on. As sons. Stop. That goes back to Genesis 49. Judah shall be his son shall be binding the fold back to the vine again. That's a prophecy that go way back. So we already understood that was coming before the law was even given to Moses. Now let's go to circumcision. See how they butcher this and they use this to drag our people into idolatry. Get Galatians 5 and 1. Come on.
Galatians 5 and 1.
Read.
Stand fast. Therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ have made us free.
I'm gonna let him read it through because Paul is so scholarly that you can hear this and get lost. I'm gonna straighten it right back out. Read.
Let me start from the top.
Come on.
Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ have made us free.
Come on.
And be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage.
Come on, verse 2.
Behold, I, Paul, say unto you that if ye be circumcised, Christ shall profit you nothing.
Read. Because they think, oh, you circumcised, you dealing with the law. Oh, the Most High Christ don't mean nothing. You going to hell. Christ don't profit you none. All the billions of people around the world going to hell according to this false doctrine and teaching. Read.
For I testify again to every man
Mhm.
that is circumcised
Come on.
that he is a debtor to do the whole law.
Come on.
Christ is become of no effect unto you.
Come on.
Whosoever of you are justified.
Are justified. That's what they don't read. You justified. You using law. You saying, yo, you keep the law, you just good. But you can't go back to keep the law and you just be good because we broke it. Once you break it once, you're dead. Romans 6:23. The wages of sin is death. You see that? But read.
Whosoever of you are justified by the law.
So they justify themselves by the law, by circumcision. Come on.
Ye are fallen from grace.
You falling from grace. Now you ain't accepting Christ. You saying if I circumcise, I do everything Moses said, I'm good. That ain't the case. Drop that. Hold on. Is there more on that?
Especially in captivity.
You read verse 4? Okay, drop that. Now give me to Acts 13. Because this is a problem. And people's going off with this. And he's going off because he's brothers, some brothers out there are just retarded anyway. They ain't getting no concept. They can't flow. They done on a low level. I don't care if they've been in the truth 30 years, 50 years, or 60 years. You want to call me a young buck, whatever. I'm dealing with the word say. Through thy precepts I get understanding. Psalms 119, 104. 119, 104, come. Through thy precepts I get understanding. They ain't using the precepts. They just reading it and just going off with Paul because they unlearn. And the sad part is the brothers is learning. Pulling these crazy scriptures and taking them out of context. Read that, brother.
Acts 15:1.
Read.
And certain men which came down from Judea taught.
So it's Jews like us that came from the land. Read.
Taught the brethren.
Come on.
And said, except ye be circumcised after the manner of Moses,
read.
Ye cannot be saved.
Cannot be saved. That's who he's talking about here. The context of people just believe if I ain't circumcised, I'm going to hell. And that's what we just read in Galatians. That's when you see that Christ don't profit you.
What verse is that?
Acts 15:1.
That's the problem. Read the next verse.
Verse 2. When therefore Paul and
because remember, our brothers as Hebrew Israelites was out there in the world. There's brothers all over the place that ain't circumcised. I'm gonna say they all going to hell. If I do, I'm pushing Christ. Christ don't profit them nothing. There's no point in it. You already going to hell, bro. You ain't circumcised. Why? Because we're going back to the law in Deuteronomy 6 where it says, this is your righteousness. Back then, we didn't have Christ. So everybody had to do that. 8th day circumcised. Period. Come on.
Verse 2.
Read.
When therefore Paul and Barnabas had no small
disputation, which means they was arguing and fighting. Come on. It wasn't a small one now. It was a major problem of beef, fight, blows, war. It ain't going on Facebook talking stupid. It's trying to break this dude's jaw because he's trying to kill people. Read.
Had no small sensation.
Decision and disputation.
With them,
They
determined that Paul and Barnabas and certain other of them should go up to Jerusalem unto the apostles and elders about this question.
Now that's their decent thing to do. Let's go and have a council, a major council about this issue. You got brothers that say they believe in Christ, but that's like me saying everybody out there in the world is going to hell if they ain't circumcised themselves on the 8th day. Not, how they doing in America, you get circumcised the next day or, 2 weeks later or a month later. You get death if you don't do it according to what the law says.
8th day is the law, not the 7th, not the 6th. Even though you're doing it, the Most High will consider that, but it's still, if we let it the law, you'd be dead.
Okay, let's go to the council that they talked about. Go to verse 6. This is the council that the elders had. Come on.
Acts 15:6. And the apostles and elders came together for to consider of this matter.
To this matter, come on.
And when there had been much disputing,
there was much disputing. This wasn't a small issue. Come on.
Peter rose up and said unto them,
what do you say?
Men and brethren, ye know how that a good while ago God made choice among us that the Gentiles.
This is not white boys and Chinese and all that. This is Israelites that scattered throughout the world that don't know that they was practicing Hebrew customs. Come on.
By my mouth should hear the word of the gospel and believe.
And believe. Read.
And God, which knoweth the hearts, bear them witness.
Okay, stop. Give me verse 9.
Come, verse 9.
Come on.
And put no difference between us and them, purifying their hearts by faith.
Not by circumcision, but by what?
By faith.
And then these people weren't circumcised. The Jews that was in Jerusalem that was keeping the law from the child up. Word. But he said, yo, don't put no difference between us that circumcised and that was doing this from birth up and them that weren't, that was not circumcised, that was just out there saying that I'm a Roman, saying that I'm an American, saying I'm a Haitian, saying I'm a Dominican. They don't even circumcise in the Dominican Republic. You got a whole country full of Negroes running around uncircumcised. They all get to go to hell? By that standard, yeah. But not by the standard of what the elders came up with, put no difference between us and them by purifying their hearts through faith. See that? Verse 11.
Verse 11. But ye believe that through the grace of the Lord, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, we shall be saved even as they.
Even as they. Get to the point. This is what the council was. Verse 19. This is the council of the elders that was in Jerusalem, Peter and the disciples. Come on.
Verse 19. Wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles are turned to God.
But what do?
But that
we don't say you get justified by the law, like the law said. We ain't doing that. What we gonna say? Read.
But that we write unto them that they abstain from pollutions of idols.
And what else?
And from fornication.
And what else?
And from things strangled and from blood.
Okay, so you're gonna have some simple Negroes that read that and say, "Oh, I ain't gotta deal with nothing. We just don't do this, don't do this, don't do this." No, 21.
21. For Moses of old time has in every city them that preached him, being read in the synagogue every Sabbath day.
So we ain't gonna go around pushing you can't get salvation if you don't get circumcised. We ain't gonna teach the law. We're just gonna teach Christ. But you know what? They can go everywhere throughout the world in their own cities and learn about Moses. They don't want to deal with that verse. Last verse, Romans 3:31. Got to cap off this garbage doctrine that's out there dealing with circumcision and all this other stuff.
Romans 3:31. Do we then make void the law through faith?
Like these people want to do, they want to make void the law through faith. They don't want to deal with this verse. They don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Read.
God forbid.
No. What?
Yet we establish the law.
We use this to establish the law. Now we back in good standing with the Most High so we can start keeping the commandments and be straight. And if we fall, we can get back up. Why? Because we have faith and we establishing the law through Christ. That's it. So no, we don't use the law no more for our righteousness. Christ is our righteousness. And when we fall, we mess up, we slip up, we do anything that get us put to death, we got faith, we got grace that we can get back up again.